So here I am again, I on air, this time with a topic that I think will concern more and more people nowadays, after or during the lockdown or as an aftermath of this corona pandemic. I'm sorry to mention this again, but we cannot avoid it. It's always there. This video I just showed you, I was shooting it in Fujairah. It was one of the places where my tragedy with unemployment, the experience of unemployment, and the experience of leaving the comfort zone and walking into the unexpected started. And this video, of course, I shot a lot later. And if you are in countries like this, you feel what it means to have a weak passport, to be in a sort of slavery situation, to express it very rudely. So now I was in 2016 or 15, I think. I was there in 1886 and 87, so it's a long, long time ago. And I want to shortly start I don't want to extend it for too long because there are many stories interwoven into this story of being unemployed. I am here in Vienna now, 2021. I left Vienna in 1984. I have been coming back occasionally, again and again, but I left Vienna definitely in 86. And this was like, I had a contract, you know, I'm educated as a medical doctor. I had a contract with the municipality of Vienna, and it came to the point where they asked me whether I want to have a permanent contract. I had one for 5 years. So I started to be hesitant because I thought to stay there and to be the rest of my life employed here and work with frustrations and so on. So I decided to terminate my contract. And I have to tell you, first time I was terminating a working contract, this was hard. I mean, I didn't exactly know what it meant, but I did it because I wanted to get out of the medical system. I wanted to start another life. I had been working in the refugee camps before, the years before. I had got to know a very different life, and I was jumping out of the medical system, and I was not really able to adjust anymore when I came back to Vienna. So I terminated my contract, not exactly knowing what I'm doing. So I left Vienna in 86, first time flew to Dubai. Back in the days, a completely different world, but for me it was already quite mundane. And I came there without a job. I had taken a loan from the bank because as a medical doctor it was not so difficult to get a loan to survive these days. And I had some insurances, and I thought I would manage. So the plan was, and this was weird, it was about an oil refinery. And those guys with me, my husband and his friend from Beirut, wanted to do a broker business. I didn't even know what it is back then. I was a medical doctor. I had no clue about anything. No idea about, I had a little bit idea of project management because of the time in Beirut where I really was obliged to really administrate the project properly. But then arriving in the Emirates after several weeks, I don't want to get too much into this. I only can tell you nothing worked out. All those guys who appeared, who wanted to get involved into this big business of oil, have been on my account, and I lost all the money I had taken from the bank was gone within seconds. So I was there alone. My husband had left. He never came back anymore to the Emirates, maybe one time, another story. And I was stuck there without a job, more or less broke, and didn't know what should I do. I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to go back home because this would have been somehow to admit that I was not strong enough to manage myself. So I was in Fujairah, this small emirate at the Arabic Gulf, where there is an oil refinery by now. They start building it in 2008. Due to political reasons, it became possible to build a refinery, and this is also a story which is very interesting, but has nothing to do with my unemployment, feeling of being unemployed. I was in this emirate, which was very, very conservative in the early 80s. And as a woman, blonde, alone, I was the only foreigner, I think, in this place, and the only woman. I was in a real disastrous situation. So what to do? I was having a membership for the hotel, for the one hotel that existed there, a Hilton, which I visited several times after my disaster there, and I went there in around 10 o'clock in the morning, and then I went there and I had a Campari at noon, and I told myself, no, you don't drink before noon. But it was hard. It was hard. It was very hot, and so I spent my days there. Then I went back because I had a so-called lockdown or curfew after 6 o'clock, because as a woman, I was not allowed to go out. Anyway, there was nothing to go anyway, so. And then it was one of those days I was really in a desperate mood there, and nobody there. It was empty, it was hot, it was 52 centigrade. The wind was blowing, this hot desert wind. The tiles were crackling, and there arrived a person, a blonde person, and I said, hey, it's you, Eric. It was Eric, a friend of my husband. I couldn't believe it. And he was an agent for medical equipment back then for the Emirates. And I jumped out of this pool, this little pool, and told him my story. And he said, hi, I might have an idea. I am working together, one of the companies I'm working with is Gulf Drugs Establishment in Dubai, and the head of this, the CEO and the owner, is a Palestinian, and maybe you have a chance to get a job. So this is how it started, and that some hope came into me, and I said, my God, maybe I have a chance to survive this time. My first office with 4 men, very solid men, rich men, who told me what to do, and I felt like a secretary. And Eric, who brought me to Dubai and introduced me to Abu Musa. And you won't believe it, he was offering me a flat. I could live there for free. But he didn't actually have a job for me. So they tried to make connections, and these connections have been Palestinian connections as well. So it really paid back that I did back then the work in the camps. And finally, I got a job in Tawam Hospital in Al Ain. Al Ain is belonging to the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. And all the rich sheikhs have their villas there, walls, and big, huge palaces, roundabouts. I never got a clue how this city was organized, but I had this job in this Tawam hospital, which back then was still in American hands, but it was just a transition phase. And I was working there as a general practitioner with my own little clinic and was treating patients. I have to tell you, every morning there were women, I don't know how many women in black in front of me waiting for treatment or using the chance to have the possibility to chat with each other, being locked in usually at home in their houses or palaces. So I have to tell you, this was quite a frustrating job for me, and I had to get out. I knew this was not my life. I didn't want to work in medicine anymore. And so what did I do? I terminated my contract. I used a bad excuse. I said, I have to go home because my father is very sick. He has his second heart attack, and so I have to leave. So I was allowed to leave the contract, to terminate the contract, even though it was, I don't know, it was a 3 years contract, a 5 years contract. And they have been very kind to me. They even said, okay, if you have sorted out your situation at home, you can come back. You have the option for re-employment, which is a rare thing, and I was actually very proud. But honestly, deep inside, I didn't have the idea, I didn't have in mind at all to get back. And I struggled a lot during these days. I mean, I was almost broke, and I had a bad car accident back there as well, which I will tell you in another live stream, because it's also very interesting when it comes to biology of the body and stress and how to manage stress. Another stress than being unemployed. So I terminated my contract and flew back home with two suitcases. And I have to show you, oops, this case. This case is with me since late 87 and still carries my technical equipment when I'm on the road. So, and I came back to Vienna, and honestly, I didn't want to come back to Vienna because I left for a reason. But I had to. I had no money. I had to get a job. I had to find out what to do. So what was the first option? The first option was to go back into medicine, which I was so reluctant to do. I wanted to do something else. Not that I didn't want to go work in the health field or something. So I had the option to work as a doctor, simple doctor, in a private clinic. And I went there and thought, no, this is not my piece of cake. After having been in refugee camps, you cannot work in a private clinic. The atmosphere, everything was really turning me off. So what did I do? I have to look for a job. And I thought, somewhere in Europe, there must be a job for me. And what can you do as a medical doctor? You don't know a lot, actually. I said, okay, it's a pharmaceutical company and you have to go as a sales rep. What else can I do? So I had still my little apartment in the 9th district in Vienna, and I knew that if I cannot manage within a few months, I had to give it up and travel back home to my parents' place and live there. So give up my independence completely. So what happened at home in my little apartment every day, I was waiting for the weekend to to go to the kiosk and buy the newspapers, the big ones, the big German newspapers, Die Zeit, Süddeutsche, Frankfurter Allgemeine, to check the ads and then to write the application and to ask for a job. And I also, I thought I was in my home, and one day everybody went to work and I was at home a certain period of time. This was okay for me, but I got more and more restless. I started to stuff myself, I gained weight. I used to drink sparkling wine in the afternoon to knock myself out. Really not good at all. And I was waiting for Saturday to have the big papers again with all these ads. And week by week it gets worse. I got more and more restless. And I had a telephone I was almost all the time I had the telephone. Whatever I did, I had the telephone in my hand. It was still one with a cord, and not like today, without a wire. And I did vacuum cleaning with this stupid phone in my hands to wait whether somebody responds to my applications. Finally, I got a response for Immuno. That company doesn't exist anymore. They belong to Pfizer, Shire. Oh, one name all the mergers that happened in between until now. And no, they didn't want to have me. My salary I asked for was too high. And my father said, if you ask for so much money, you will never get a job. Boom, slap, left, right, and center. So fine. But then after I think it was 3.5 months, I was like this. And then I got a phone call from Frankfurt, a pharmaceutical company, and working in the plasma field. So it was something which I thought could be interesting for me. And then I connected with them and they said, yes, of course, you can. We want to have you, you can start, but you needed a working permit, a residence permit. It was not Europe yet, so it was not so easy. And those people over there, they were not in a hurry. I didn't hear anything after these phone calls, and I said, I have to get this job. I was desperate. So what did I do? I thought, I have to go there. I jumped into a train. I had no contract, nothing. I just took my bags and went to Frankfurt, and there I was, and I was telling them, I need this job. I need it really. And what happened? Finally, I got the job, and I can tell you, it was not a long time that I was unemployed, but it was one of my worst times, and but to remember it, it's difficult to know the feeling or to recall the feeling. It's something I don't wish anybody to have this situation, and I know that nowadays a lot of people around me will have to face this situation. And luckily enough, today I'm independent, have my own companies, and I don't have to rely on anybody. Of course I will have to work hard, but nobody can kick me out, nothing. So I don't have to wait for the postman, which like I was waiting back then. And I don't have to look through the ads, even now that we are looking for people to be employed in our companies. It's not so easy. But I feel that I did the right step back then in '86 to terminate with the municipality of Vienna and come and travel the world. And being back in Vienna now is a good feeling, because I always said I don't want to go back. If I leave, I go somewhere. And I decided in 2011 or 12 that I will have an apartment and a residence in Vienna. And I came to Vienna in 2014, and I don't regret it. I don't regret that I left in '86, definitely, and that I came back in 2014. So this was my eye on air, alone, without my team, so I'm not really aware what I did. I will now, just for a change, have a look at my little paper. You see, my paper that I always have to read because of my dear friend Ralph, who is always helping me to prepare the live stream. And, of course, I miss the boys, Rolly and Herwig. I mean, how could I survive this one without them? So in case you like this little talk, please share it and send us a like or a dislike, a heart, or just give us a response, a feedback, because I'm really, honestly, I want to improve my performance. I want to improve the way how we do it. And I have to get more and more familiar with my technical equipment, that I'm not so clumsy anymore. So beside that, please visit our blog, bistmich.com/blog, or as well as bistmich.com, and our magazine, our YouTube channel, my own channel. Oh my God, there are so many things. And of course, my own website, Swarms of Life. So I hope we can create a community and have a communication together that is a fruitful interaction in the future. As we have so little options to move, let's share some time despite all the restrictions we are in. So this was Suzanne. I hope to see you again soon. Eye on Air. It's my life. It's just my life. Goodbye, everybody.